This 80s metal themed Halloween movie is genuinely awful. Hey everyone, happy Halloween. I'm a huge fan of 80s metal and I found this movie based around it, so I thought it'd be fun to watch, but it's genuinely one of the worst films I've seen. It's called Trick or Treat. It came out in 1986 and it's about a rock star who comes back to life through a secret message hidden in his final album. The movie starts with the main character, Eddie Ragman Weinbauer, writing a letter to a rock star named Sammy Kerr. Essentially the letter is a rant about how stupid people with mainstream tastes are. I thought that was a relatively new idea. I didn't realise teenagers in the 80s were already saying stuff like that.
Airheads and brain deads are everywhere.
And to top it off, he goes full emo and says this.
I mean, I've got thoughts in my head that nobody but you would understand.
So we get the idea. It's a classic story of a loner type being bullied by the jocks. As Eddie finishes the letter, the TV bulletin reveals that Sammy Kerr died in a fire. The bulletin also says that Sammy wanted to perform at the local high school, you know, like all rock stars do, but he'd been stopped by the council. Naturally, Eddie is devastated at this news, so he goes to see DJ Nuke, who's played by Gene Simmons from Kiss.
Eddie, he did this to himself, don't you get it? He started to believe in his own hype.
Nuke also reveals that he's got the final unreleased record by Sammy Kerr and he's going to play it at midnight on Halloween.
Why is it always midnight?
We then see Eddie meeting a girl he likes called Leslie. Obviously he's ludicrously awkward.
You're Eddie, right?
Okay.
Leslie gives him back the tape that the bullies stole and invites him to a pool party that night. Normally in movies, if there's a pool party, it's in the gardens of some huge mansion, but in this case it's just in a leisure centre. Eddie arrives at the party. Naturally, the jocks are annoyed and ask him what he's doing there.
I'm meeting someone.
Who?
Hey! You got ears, dildo?
That's the strangest insult ever. Why has he got dildos on his mind at a party full of people in swimwear? Whatever the reason, the guys throw Eddie in the pool and Leslie jumps in to save him. Eddie then vows to get revenge in the most extra way possible.
I'm gonna nail every one of those bastards. I don't know how, I don't know when, but I'm gonna nail them.
Maybe he's gonna nail them with the dildo. I've said dildo too much, haven't I? Back home, Eddie has a dream about entering a burning building, and we hear voices that sound like backward masking. If you don't know, backward masking is where you record a message and then reverse it. If you play the record normally it sounds distorted, but if you play it backwards you can hear the hidden message. There was a theory at the time that backwards mass messages could reach you subliminally. Christian TV networks accused rock stars of working with the Church of Satan.
They lift up, the demons lift up, because this isn't Led Zeppelin, this is spiritism, and spirits working through Robert Plant.
There were even attempts to pass a law to include a warning on all records with hidden messages. That sort of defeats the point of them being hidden. Eddie wakes up from his dream to find the record player playing the record. He plays the record backwards, which gives a cryptic message.
Let the big fish hook themselves. You're the bait is you.
This feels really vague to me, but somehow Eddie knows exactly what to do. The next day, he deliberately provokes a reaction from the bullies.
Amy,
Yes, Edward.
eat this.
You're dead.
This chase goes on for a while, and it includes the funniest moment in the entire movie. I know it's stupid, but I love it. The chase ends with the jocks taking a fire extinguisher and accidentally spraying a load of teachers instead of Eddie. So the backwards voice was right, and the bullies got themselves in trouble. Eddie discusses the message with his friend Roger, who dismisses the whole thing.
Hey, some ad exec somewhere thought up the idea of hidden lyrics so that pinheads like Eduardo Weinbauer would fuck up their records playing them backwards and then have to go buy more.
Roger's probably right, but that undermines the entire premise of the movie. Eddie listens to the record again on his own, which addresses him by name. This time he's able to ask it questions.
Was that message yesterday meant for me?
All part of the plan.
This is the part of the film that makes the least sense. Even if you can somehow possess a record, it's still a pre-recorded message. You can't ask it stuff. The record gives another cryptic message, 66 Crush, and we see Eddie entering room number 66. There's a lingering shot that really emphasises the number 66 for some reason. I think they're trying to go for the 666 connection with the devil, but 66 doesn't mean anything. Eddie goes into room number 66, and Tim, the lead jock, turns up. He tries to beat up Eddie, but he gets caught in a machine. Eddie lets the drill almost touch his eye before stopping it. Later, Tim finds the cassette with the backwards message on it pinned to his locker with a message from Eddie calling it a peace offering. We then see Roger looking up a girl's skirt as she hangs a banner for the Halloween dance. I guess that was acceptable in the 80s. Do you think that's what the Calvin Harris song is about? Leslie says she heard about Eddie and Tim and asks if he's okay. Roger responds that Eddie has traumatic amnesia. I assume he's making it up, but obviously that's a serious condition. It's weird that it's never mentioned again. We then see Tim in a car, making out with another girl called Jeannie. Tim leaves Jeannie in the car, and she listens to the tape on a Walkman. As she's listening, some green gas emerges from the headphones. I think it's supposed to be some sort of evil spirit, but it just looks like a cartoon fat. The spirit unbuttons her dress and bra, and she starts to orgasm, but when she opens her eyes, there's a creepy thing licking her. I have no idea what this thing is. It has no relation to the main villain of the story. Tim comes running back, but by the time he gets there, she's already unconscious. Tim pulls away the headphones, and there's some sort of green goo inside her head. Tim blames Eddie for this and goes to find him. He pulls up outside Eddie's house and starts shouting his name, Weinbauer. Unfortunately, the way he pronounces it sounds like white power.
White power!
Not a good look, especially from a blonde-haired guy. Tim then goes to attack Eddie, but Eddie raises his hands and holds him back.
She's in a fucking hospital, man. You could have fucking shoot.
This is yet another idea that the film does nothing with. There's no reference to Eddie having supernatural powers at any other point in the film. Eddie then talks to the record again, which tells him that Leslie sets him up. He tries to unplug the record player, but it throws him across the room. Then the room starts to shake, and we get the obligatory product placement as a can of Pepsi falls onto the record. Then finally, more than halfway through the movie, Sammy Kerr appears. He tells Eddie that he should be loyal to his hero, then disappears. Eddie is grounded for some reason, so he asks Roger to retrieve the tape and destroy it. Roger breaks into the car and steals the tape. Eddie phones to ask if he destroyed it, and he says that he did. After the call, he listens to the tape, and it seems fairly generic.
It's not too unnormal.
Unnormal is definitely not a word. Roger then makes a milkshake, because of course he does, it's the 80s. The blender goes crazy, there's a flash of light, and Sammy Kerr appears.
Hey, Rod.
Sammy tells Roger to play his tape that night or die. It's now Halloween, which is established in the laziest possible way.
Well, all right, guys and ghouls, Halloween's here, and you better hold on tight, because we're gonna rock you tonight.
Dan then arrives dressed as Rambo. They never actually say who Dan is, but I assume he's Eddie's mum's boyfriend. Eddie's mum is dressed in a crazy outfit, but I can't tell what it's meant to be.
I love it.
I'm not sure if it's fancy dress or just an outfit from the 80s. Dan and Eddie's mum go out and leave him on his own, where he puts some classical music on the radio.
Death is preferable to this.
It showed him flicking through the stations, so I don't know why he's complaining. He chose to listen to that. He could have picked a rock station if he wanted. Leslie phones Eddie and asks if he's going to the dance. He tells her that he's sick, but then he hears the tape playing in the background. Eddie tries to drive to the school, but Sammy possesses the car via the tape deck.
Going to a party? I don't think so.
The car starts to drive itself, and after terrorizing someone dressed as a ghost, it comes to a stop at some sort of port. Eddie gets out of the car and starts running to the school instead. Meanwhile, at the dance, Sammy Kerr appears on stage and gets the crowd going. He then plays a full song, and it's actually really good. The soundtrack is the only good thing about this movie. Definitely recommend you check it out. The band that recorded it are called Fastway, and no, I hadn't heard of them either. They were founded by Eddie Clark, a guitarist from Motorhead. After the song finishes, Eddie starts to zap random members of the audience with his guitar. In the women's bathroom, Tim finds Leslie and asks if she's dating Eddie in the weirdest way possible.
Are you making it with Weinbauer?
Anyone who was around in the 80s, let me know in the comments if that was a normal way to describe dating. Tim tries to kiss Leslie.
You are such an asshole!
Eddie then finally arrives and tells Roger to find the circuit breaker. Eddie then finally arrives and tells Roger to find the breaker box while he looks for Leslie. Eddie finds Leslie and they find the breaker box, but Sammy appears in front of them again. Roger saves their life by stabbing the circuit breaker. Roger retrieved the tape, and now he's destroyed the circuit breaker. It feels like the whole movie could have happened without the main character. Outside the school, the police are interviewing people who tell them what happened. Naturally, they don't believe it.
Looks like we better check out the party punch.
As Eddie leaves, someone points him out to the police. The police shout and he runs away, which isn't the smartest thing to do in America. Leslie runs with him. Instead of getting shot, the two of them end up down an alleyway. Eddie then finally explains to Leslie what's happening.
I've heard of raising spirits from the dead by incantations, right?
As if that's a normal thing people do all the time. They realise that they have to get to DJ Nuke and stop him from playing the record, otherwise Sammy could appear from any speaker playing that station. Eddie and Leslie hear the music and Sammy appears again. They run away and a police officer sees the two of them. The officer sees Sammy approaching and threatens him with a taser.
Freeze your ass, buddy, or I'll give you a jolt you'll never forget.
It's needlessly aggressive. The officer doesn't even recognise Sammy, just thinks he looks strange. The officer shoots at Sammy, but he just laughs and zaps the officer. Eventually, Eddie and Leslie make it to Eddie's house and start destroying TVs and radio. I don't know why they couldn't just unplug them. Eddie realises that his keys are in the bathroom, so they both go in there, close the door, but Sammy appears and blows his way in. Eddie throws a box which trips Sammy up. He falls and puts his arm in the toilet and gets electrocuted. Eddie's car gets possessed through the radio and drives itself away, so they steal a police car just in case they weren't in enough trouble. They drive away using the sirens to clear traffic.
I've always wanted to do that.
I love the way they leave in Leslie's awkward reaction when there's nothing for her to say. They finally arrive at the radio station and there's lightning flashing and stuff flying around the room, but no sign of Sammy. Eddie tells Leslie to count to 100, then run in and grab the tape.
What about you?
Maybe I'll see you later.
Maybe isn't the most reassuring word. Eddie takes a portable radio and lures Sammy away so that Leslie can get the tape.
How about that toilet, huh? You know, you looked a little flush back there.
Sammy finally appears in the police car, inside the metal cage. Eddie drives the car off the dock into the water. Leslie destroys the radio station equipment, and by the time Eddie gets there, she's asleep. They share a proper kiss, and the movie ends with Eddie playing normal music over the radio.
Wake up, sleepyheads. It's party time.
And that's it. I'm really not exaggerating when I say how bad it is. It's slow paced, badly written, and nothing is properly explained. Literally the only good thing about it is the soundtrack. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like, subscribe, and share with your friends. If there's anything that you'd like me to make a video on, then let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.